Hello, everybody. I am so excited to see all of the chat or all the comments in the chat box. Cool. I see a lot of familiar faces, a lot of faces I don't know, but I'm super excited you guys are here. My name is Brandi, and I am the creative owner of Stamp Me Some Love blog shop and academy. I'm also the host of the biannual or semi-annual, 2 times a year. I never know how it's supposed to be said, but anyway, the Cardmaker Success Summit. I'm also the owner of the Cardmaker Success membership. And I am here to answer all of your questions about um, organizing your cardstock. All right. Oh, JD's asking me, how long have I been making cards? I've been making cards since 2018. I started out by attending one of those Stampin' Up! Parties, and the very same day I signed up as a demonstrator. And my biggest big purchase that day was the Big Shot. I actually went in to test out the Big Shot because I was wanting to make a very specific birthday card, and I saw this embossing folder on Pinterest, and it was a happy birthday one. I don't know if you guys remember it, but it was the one that said happy birthday in all different fonts and different ways and stuff. And I think it was a Cuttlebug embossing folder, and I didn't know at the time that it was actually retired, but I knew that you had to make it with a embossing folder. So I did some Googling and found a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here locally, asked her if I could just come and test out the machine. She said, sure, come to our class. So we made, actually I had the very first card I've ever made. And the ladies around me were like shocked that I didn't stamp. These were two-step stamping. They were shocked that I did it straight on the card base. I mean, there's no layer there other than the sentiment. So anyway, that's basically what got me hooked. And I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for a bit. And yeah. And then in 2019, I kind of went out on my own, or was it 2020? Anyway, a while back there. And I've been doing my own thing ever since. So, all right. How many shades of color from collecting over the years? Not sure how. I have so many shades. Girl, you can never have enough shades. Don't think that you need to get rid of it because it's a different shade. You never know what kind of shade you have. And as you guys know, in the video, if you guys have had an opportunity to see it, I have all kinds of shades. And I keep, pretty much in stock all of these colors because you just never know what you're going to have to coordinate with. And so like pattern paper and different ink colors and so forth. So I am a big believer in having lots of opportunity to showcase your creativity. And I do suffer from the full set syndrome because I feel like if I don't have that color, and one day I'm going to need it. So I do have this bit of a habit, or is it a habit or an addiction? I'm not sure, of having all the colors. So that is a little thing. That is a little thing for me. How do you store your inks? Do you keep your brands separate? So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek that I will be speaking about this particular topic at the Get Organized HQ Summit, which will take place in September. And if you're on my email list, you all will get notified when those tickets go out. But yes, so I do store my inks separately. My primary inks of choice are Catherine Pooler and then the Distressed Oxides. I have some mini cubes of some of the Alta News and all that, but what I usually use is Catherine Pooler. And I don't actually organize them by rainbow color. I organize them alphabetically, so it's easier for me to know exactly where it needs to go. So If you only had one piece of cardstock in a particular color, would you swatch it even if it reduces the piece's uses? Hmm. So if I only had one piece of that color cardstock, I probably wouldn't, because once I use it, if I can't get it back in, then there's no sense. But if it's a color that I can get in stock again, then yeah, I would swatch it and, keep it on my little ring here. But if it's something that I'm not likely going to order again, then I wouldn't swatch it. Do you keep cardstock kits together? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. I keep all of my cardstocks together in those job ticket holders by color. So unless I'm creating a specific card and I want to replicate that over and over again, then I may keep it in kits, but typically not. How big is my craft space? Well, I will have to tell you that I'm extremely lucky in this regard. My wife and I used to share this space. Her desk was over there, my desk was over here. And when COVID came, I was an interpreter at the time, and I would have to drive into a call station or call center, and I used to interpret phone calls back and forth from deaf people to hearing people. Well, when COVID came, they made us all go home, which was nice. I liked that. I'm more of an introvert, so I don't really like to go out into places. If I could stay at home, for the most part, I would probably stay at home except for to go on vacation. Anyway, when that happened, my wife had to move out of the office because of the confidentiality of our phone calls. I couldn't have somebody in the same space while I'm making phone calls. And eventually, my business sort of kind of took over, and now she's permanently out of this office. So, all that to be said, I believe the dimensions of this room are 14 by 24 feet. And then I have a closet that at one point in time I had moved in there to do my video interpreting, because I then became permanent at home interpreter. But as of the beginning of last year, 2023, I'm full time doing my craft business. So this entire space is devoted essentially to my business and crafting. Long story for a short answer. What inserts do you have in the sleeves you had behind your demo tape? What inserts? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, because in the cardstock job ticket holders, there's no inserts. It's just the plastic sleeve and the paper. And then I have a little label on the front. So maybe ask a different way. I think by kits she means recollection packages of different color. I see what you're saying. Yes. So I don't typically buy a lot of like the Michaels or Hobby Lobby cardstock, mainly because they're very thin. But on occasion I do. And sometimes I even get one of those big 12 by 12 paper packs. And for those, yes, I do separate them out. Let me go get you what I think you're talking about. So, so yeah, I have, and it's just a 12 by 12 sleeve that is on the supply list. So if you're on that page for the summit, that where my presentation is, you'll find that there. All right. What else? What else you got for me? How do you organize your pattern paper? Well, that's a whole other story. I don't really have a good solution for pattern paper. I typically only purchase 6x6 pattern paper. So they're just basically in their paper packs in a box, about yay big. And the 12 by 12s, I have some smattering of that, and they're in just, plastic sleeves like this, and they're tucked away somewhere. I don't use them very often. If I was a scrapbooker, I probably would. Oh, in my calyx units. Okay, are you talking about the wood? That actually came from Stamp and Storage. And I bought those when I was a Stampin' Up demonstrator. And so right now they currently just house the paper that I sell in my store. That's not typically what I use to organize the paper that I use. So when I purchase paper for myself, it's usually 8.5 by 11. And the system that I showed you in the video, that's the system I use. What I think I was showing you on the video, it's just a short little snippet, was the calyx units and the dividers inside there. I just store that basically for the paper that I sell in the store. So it's easy for me to find and then ship off once somebody buys it. What companies do you work for and with? Well, I work with a lot of companies, but I'm not a design team member. Um, our business here at Stamp Me Some Love is focused on the Cardmaker Success Summit, which happens twice a year. It takes us about 6 months to plan. And then we have the Cardmaker Success membership, which is a monthly recurring membership where we, do a lot of different things. Now, in that, I do have partnerships with different brands, and we will incorporate their products in our projects and whatnot. But as far as design teaming for somebody, I don't typically have partnerships where I do that. But obviously, we have lots of sponsors for the Cardmaker Success Summit, so I work with them. What is the organization solution you're most proud of? Well, hands down, that is my Airtable system. And if you purchase the VIP All Access Pass, you have access to that course. I typically sell that course for $29. So if you have the VIP All Access Pass, definitely check that out. But my Airtable system is basically a database, and I have inputted, is that the right word? Entered, data entered, whatever. Anyway, all of my stamps, all of my stencils, all of my non-consumable items. There is a column for the brand, a column for the theme, a column for the sentiments that are included in that. There is a column for a picture of the actual product. And then I also have other tables for all of my inks, re-inkers, size of pads, all of that stuff. So that when I go to design a card, what all I have to do is say, I want to sort the table by a particular theme. So whether it's Christmas or Mother's Day or florals or whatever the case may be, then it shows me all of the products that I currently have in my stash. It took a long time, I'm going to be honest, to get that system where it is today. And but that is the most the organization solution that I'm most proud of, because it's taken me a long time to kind of get to that point. Beforehand, literally, what I would have to do is go through my little bins of stamp sets and just kind of look and pull and pull and pull. And then I'd have this big stack of stamp sets that I think I might want to use. And then I'd have to go through and then use it. And then, of course, all of those stacks just sort of laid around my area, and they never got put back in the right place. So now we have that Airtable system and we're improving upon it all the time. The latest improvement is that on my stamp set, I put a label A, B, C, D, E, whatever, and that tells me what bin it needs to go back in. So the bin is organized by brand, and then I just put it right back in the section where the brand is. So it's definitely helped me a lot, and I'm super excited to share it with everybody. All right, who would you love to craft in real life? Well, I get to craft in real life at the end of the year with Harriet, my assistant, Ardith, who you all know, and Laurel, hopefully, if she's feeling well enough to come. And so that'll be really exciting. Of course, I would love to meet Justine in person. I think that would be a lot of fun. But I have been able to meet people like Daniel West. I went to Rhode Island to see a niece of mine and hung out with him for the afternoon. And we did a live stream. It was a lot of fun. So I love meeting my crafty besties that met online. I think that's a lot of fun. So I actually pay for the monthly fee for the Airtable, but the system that I share with you all, you can do with the free version. Now, if your database gets to be so big, then yes, you may have to pay for the monthly fee. And I don't know what the cost is, to be honest with you. I just don't know. What's the best stamp tool investment and why? Well, I only have the Misty in terms of a stamp positioning tool. But regardless of what stamp positioning tool you use, I think that's the biggest investment that I would recommend anybody that wants to make high quality cards, less waste, is to get a stamp positioning tool like the Misty or the stamp wheel or whatever the tool may be out there. That would be, in addition to the die cut machine, the very next one I would probably invest in is a stamp positioning tool. What is my favorite black ink? My favorite black ink is VersaFine Clair, and I love it for very small font sentiments. I think it doesn't bleed as much, and I think it's a. Let me just double check. Yeah, it's a pigment. It's a pigment ink, and that's what I use right there. Is VersaFine Clair. It's called Nocturne, which I believe means black. But yeah. My design style, I think, is all over the place, to be honest with you. I don't really have a unique style. I like to do lots of different things. Here lately, I've been doing a lot of watercoloring. I also like mixed media, but not the grungy type, like just throw everything under the kitchen sink in. Mine's more of a, use a stencil, use a paste, that kind of thing. I don't do a ton of random layers of things. So I'd say it's a little bit clean with a little bit of color. Uh, VersaFine Clair is the brand. Black is the color. So I don't know of VersaFine Black. So sorry for the VersaFine Clair is the brand. And Nocturne, which is black. So I hope that answers your question. Aha, Onyx. Okay. VersaFine Clair Nocturne. Okay, cool. I don't have Onyx. I have the Nocturne. What is your favorite cardstock for watercolor pens? Well, I tend to use, I don't know if this has still got the label on it. Here it is. This, for my cards, the Strathmore Ready Cut cardstock, because they are 5 by 7, and that's usually the perfect size for a card to work off of. I think it might be a little bit more expensive to purchase it already cut. So if that's the case, then I tend to use like Arches watercolor and then cut it down. What do you do when you've lost your mojo? Oh gosh. Well, sometimes I get overwhelmed in my craft room if it's a mess. kind of the situation right now. I think it's very funny that I'm speaking at a Get Organized summit when right now my craft room's a mess. I think the best thing for me to do when I've lost my mojo is to work on my organization. I tend to feel a lot better when things are in their place and I'm not stressing over not having enough room to do things. So that's probably the best thing that I do is just to, clean my space, organize, and then pull something out just to play with or to work on. Did I ever try an organization solution that just didn't work? Yes, I have. And I purchased some like I think they're kind of like makeup. Let me show you. So these are it's an acrylic thing that you put like makeup that's rectangle, or round or whatever, and you just kind of laid it. That's what the purpose was. And I had them in my IKEA drawers, which do not pull all the way out. So then I was having a hard time getting stuff in the background or in the back. Then I also realized that if it's in a drawer, I'm probably not going to use it, which is the case with all my mini cubes. They are in a drawer. I've got tons. I never use them because I don't see them. So I ditched this and decided to go with on the wall displayed. And part of my presentation that I'll be showing you all at the Get Organized HQ Summit is how I label them and display them and organize them. So anyway, I liked this. I mean, it's got a great idea, but it just ended up not being for me. Is there a technique that you've tried that you really disliked? I don't think so. I have my favorites, so I'm sure I have less favorites, but I can't think of them at the moment. I do have problems sometimes with little bitty pieces and die cutting. So, like some of the layered stamp sets that we get from like Alta New, the flowered ones. They sometimes they come up with the little tiny pieces that you're supposed to, glue. Well, half the time I lose them, and then I, maybe glue them in the wrong place, or my hand shakes a little bit. Spellbinders has a lot of little bitty pieces and stuff. I think the overall effect is wonderful, and if you have the patience, which sometimes I do not, um, having that is probably my least favorite. Although I do love the outcome once it's done. What are my favorites? My favorites right now are watercoloring. I'll give you a little sneak peek. So I'm working on a project for the Create with a Cricut Joy. It's called Create with Joy Summit, but it's all about using the Cricut Joy. And I did some watercoloring on that. I thought that was really cool. So that's going to be my project for that. So if you're on my wait list, or if you're on my email list, you'll get emails about that sometime. I think it's sometime in July. So yeah, learning different ways to work with mixed media. So that particular card had heat transfer vinyl that I cut out onto, and I ironed it onto watercolor paper, and then I just watercolored the flower. Do you have a particular paper brand that you like best, or do you buy different kinds? I do buy different kinds. The kind that I sell in my store is My Colors, MYCOLORS, heavyweight, and they have an 80-pound version as well. Aside from that, other brands that I purchase for the store and just for my own personal use is Spellbinders. I love their cardstock. They have such a huge variety of color, and yeah, so that's what I like. Do I listen to music when I'm crafting? And if so, what kind? Yes, I do. I right now I have this really cool playlist that I kind of stole from another organizer of a craft retreat that I went to, and it's just got a whole mix of 70s and 80s and 90s music, all kind of wrapped into one. It's about 23 hours worth of playtime, and yeah, so that's what I put on. It's time to wrap up, you guys. Thank you so much. If you've got any other questions, feel free to tag me in the Facebook group. I would love to chat with you guys. And hopefully, you guys have had such a great time this week and have gotten everything organized. I can't wait to see you guys soon. Take care.